I went through interview after I would send in a tape
was going to
every
go that
year,
year.
and I would get a call every.
I don't know. Switch? I'm gonna give you this.
I would put in a video every single year. Every year I would get a call, but I wasn't ready. They would tell me, you're not ready. And then they finally said, I'm ready. But I would just keep coming. I went to the Big E. I would go, anytime I saw anything about Survivor, I was going. I needed to get on.
Obviously you won. How did you deal with that?
It was hard being pregnant, but I understood what he was going through since I had done it before, so that was
She went home and spent the money.
the process while he was going through.
What advice would you give them when it comes to being on the show or getting onto the show?
I would say just be yourself, because nobody can fake who they are for too long, and if you do that when you're on the show, people are going to see right through that. So when you do your interview, be yourself.
You know, I think some people get up there, you think you almost have to be crazy, you gotta do something maybe too crazy, but that could maybe backfire. You're shaking your head, yes, I'm gonna jump over here. What advice would you give them?
Well, I like myself, like Jeremy, I put in a lot of tapes over the years, and I try to be creative with my tapes and make them all different to sort of stick out, but that definitely did not work. In the last tape that I did, I just talked for 3 minutes, and I was just myself, and I told my story, and somehow that stuck. And they called me back every time I put in a tape, which is really frustrating. And to Val's credit, saying to be yourself is really important, because it's not just the one interview that you go through. So if you get called back on this interview, you're going to get called back for another interview, and another interview, and another interview, and another interview, which could go on for 4 to 6 months. So it's really hard to be somebody else that you're not for 4 to 6 months. So be yourself.
So that happens over such a long period of time, but all of a sudden you're brought out onto an airplane and taken to a location, and what was that moment like when you suddenly are there and you're like, I can't believe I'm here?
Well, it was funny because you're on lockdown for 10 days, so you're with all the other survivors, but you can't have a conversation. And then all of a sudden you come out, and all of a sudden Jeff Probst walks up and goes, "Welcome to Survivor." And I'm like, oh my God, my spaceship has just landed. Like, did this really just happen?
How do you feel? I mean, it's gotta be, let me jump over here to you, Rodney. How does it feel that you have all these folks here? Maybe it's that. I'll just stick with the one for right now, maybe that's easier. How does it feel like when you see this crowd and these people obviously here, they know all of you guys? I mean, you're celebrities.
I mean, they took all my criteria. I was gonna go with the be yourself type of thing, but I guess I go for the one that was kind of recruited for the show, because I never seen Survivor in my life when I got on Survivor. I actually showed up to a different casting call, and that led to Survivor. So, I mean, my thing is just be yourself and just show up. Keep showing up, keep your face relevant, because like I said, there's so many people here in this city, and then the next city, and then the next city, so you just gotta keep going. If you really want something, you gotta try hard for it, you gotta work hard, play hard like I did on the show. So give it your all, and you'll get there.
So speaking of, I heard from a few people, and you had some health issues during the show. I mean, what happened to you?
Well, I lost, coming in, I was 190, and me and Jeremy kind of did the same thing. You can either bulk up and put fat on like Tony did, and then get your reserves up, or you can start cutting and hitting the gym. I'd go to the gym for about 3 hours a day, and I'd come home and I'd have a little piece of chicken and a little bit of rice. He'd have, what we did, the half sandwich or whatever he said, and that was kind of like a half of a sandwich. I actually gave myself too much food, because eating that little bit of chicken and rice, I didn't even get that. And then everybody knows me crying about my birthday and losing all those rewards. Well, it led to parasites, liver failure, pancreas failure. I really went through it. It's a real deal show. That's why in all these years, nobody's came out and said Survivor's fake. So once you sign on the dotted line, it's it. It's ready to battle. Don't sleep. And every single week, you just got to have a certain smart strategy and go in there and ride it all the way to the end.
Don't sleep and don't
You
eat.
see people, obviously you change in the process, but do you, as you're there, do you see people around you start to change day by day? I mean, physically, emotionally? Because you watch it on TV and you think, oh, it's edited, it's this, it's that, but you're right there.
I mean, yeah, it's an edited show, but they got to take 72 hours worth of film and condense it into a 30-minute episode. So when you're like, how did he do that? Or this person didn't deserve to win, you're not really seeing everything. So they have a tough job making it a great show, which it is a great show. It's been on since 2001, right? I mean, we're gonna probably see Survivor 70 if Jeff wants to, keep on doing it. So the formula's good. You get somebody you can root for from one different city, and you ride with them, and they got a beautiful formula. So.
Would you do it? Would you do it again? Would all of you do? I know some of you have done it again, but would you do it again?
Do it again.
You still have one kidney.
Still have one.
Yeah, I would do it again. I'd do it again. I'd definitely do it again.
I would definitely do it again. Yes.
I don't know yet.
Yes, we all would do it again.
I'm curious, does anyone have a question? Because I know that they'd probably love to hear from you guys, and you probably have great questions, but what's your name?
My name's Dylan. I got a question for Rodney. I would just love to hear one of your famous impressions of other survivors. We got like a Mike Holloway, some Dan, like whatever you got.
I actually got a new one for you.
This Tata, I go for Survivor Kawan. All I do nature has see a come on the finale. I so good, if I'm so good, he can donate 50,000 to my charity. I so good time. I love survive, I love everything, I love life, I love plants, I love everything.
Jeremy Collins is such a good winner, but I mean, you might have to give it to the book all about Howard, right?
And Andy Galley kind of goes like it at this point, you know what I mean? They were talking strategy.
Very nice. Anybody else? There's got to be somebody. Everybody's got questions. You were all...
Yeah, I've got a question. So obviously we see the edited version, but we don't see how much downtime there is. How hard is it in the downtime to not play the game too hard? I mean, are people always playing the game, or do you have to turn it on and off as you go?
Who would like to answer that?
I mean, people are always playing the game, but there's a ton of downtime. You just have to pick and choose when you want everybody to see your gameplay, or when you want them to see that it's downtime. You know what I mean? But it's always gameplay. The game's always on. It never stops.
I would say it's different for different seasons. Going on a second time, when you're playing with return to play,